Well, I'm not sure exactly when I first went to Kew. I think it was 1964 in the summer. I knew about the Great Palm House. So whenever I went through London on my many trips to Europe, I always tried to go back to the Palm House. We started doing shows in conservatories. The Palm House was on my mind right away. We eventually connected with the Royal Botanical Garden at Kew, and fortunately for us, they were very interested.
When we were in Chicago, we stopped by the Garfield Park Conservatory to see the Chihuly exhibit that was there, and it was really a pretty astonishing thing to see. I think everybody who saw it was really fascinated with it. The kind of organic forms set in this incredibly organic setting drew enormous attention to Garfield Park Conservatory. I mean, people went to the Garfield Park Conservatory to see that exhibit who hadn't been in that part of Chicago for a very, very long time.
We've been open almost a year with this exhibition, and we are now closing in on 600,000 visitors, which is so amazing I can't even begin to describe.
And as soon as I saw it, I thought, well, that should work absolutely fantastically here at Kew. We have three huge glass houses, the Temperate House, the Palm House, and the Princess of Wales Conservatory. So I was pretty smitten with it right at the very beginning. And so then the next phase was really to try and persuade my staff that this was a good idea.
When we first heard of the possibility that Chihuly might come to Kew, everybody asked, of course, well, what is Chihuly? And a few people who had seen his work, I think at Garfield Park in Chicago, started to describe it to us, and you know, we needed some images, and then we saw some images, and we saw immediately that there could be a relationship between the Royal Botanic Gardens and his sculpture.
I saw his images of Sleeping Lady. They just completely knocked me out. The fact that the pieces withstood snow, they were there in bright sunlight, and that you knew that they could be permanent installations. I understood for the first time that glass wasn't necessarily fragile, but was a strong, sturdy material that really could work out of doors.
I've always had an interest in gardens and conservatories. My mother had a big garden, and I went to school in architecture, and so I've always had an interest in glass houses. And so the idea of being able to bring my work, it's sort of inside but yet in nature at the same time, it's really a kind of an ideal background for my work. It's especially exciting to be doing Kew because we've got three different greenhouses, two of which are incredibly beautiful, and another one, more contemporary, is sort of less attractive to me.
Kew is a place with iconic glass structures, and Dale Chihuly's art is really iconic. But also Kew is a place where things grow organically, and many of Dale Chihuly's pieces look very organic. They look like organic structures.
Boy, I like the way these are coming. All right. Let's get a little more radical now. Let's not start making them all the same. The reason it bends also, Jim, is that you're pushing down on the bottom at the same time. I'm going to bend this one, though. There you go, there you go, there you go, right there. Do whatever it does, do whatever it does. Just make sure you don't touch down. But you can see how much action you can get. You've got to stay down there and you keep your bottom. Those are very nice, too. Let's make a few of those.
The artist has to be, I suppose, completely unafraid to do what ideas that they have. They have to be, pushing the envelope. They just have to not be afraid to do what comes to them. And that's probably why there's so many cases of artists that led, strange lives. You can't get there without going to where your passion takes you.
glass, ice, I love ice, plastics. These are, materials that are all different, but that are all transparent. They're very luminous, and then as color, you can go through them in such incredible ways. When you look at, glass, you're really looking at light itself. The magic of light going through something. Come on, sweetheart. 1, 2, 3. That's one of the things that attracts people with glass.
Yeah, it wasn't there before? No. So how long we got? Not long? Whatever you did on that coil, do it one more time.
There's just all sorts of possibilities with glass that I can't think of too many materials that haven't been exploited, except for glass.